Hello, everybody, and welcome to Garden Quilt and Art Show, aka GQUAT Traditions. Well, I was pushing buttons and doing stuff today and running around. I see my hair sticking up over there and doing stuff. So, how are you guys doing? I see people in the chat. I see my picture is big. I think. And let's get this party started. Oh, look, Joanne, Steve, and Sissy is up in here. Mike's Chaotic Gardening, Deborah Garrett, Ruta Irahita. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, on your busy Saturday evening. Michael, you and them squirrels, Donzel Cooper. Welcome, nephew, and thank you for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. And don't forget, please, to give the thumbs up because I'd love to be able to share the channel with others. Mona did what? Hey, Mona, thanks for coming and welcome. I took a picture of something, an old business card that I found today. It was actually in, you know how you have a little container with a pocket in it? And it had a business card from years ago in there. And I wanted to read it to you guys because yesterday I was out riding with a friend and I rode by there. What was there? Yes, you see my t shirt. I am a reinvention rebel, crooked, a reinvention rebel. That is a group of women over 50 who have reinvented themselves. I am well over 50 and I have reinvented myself, including this YouTube channel. And I'm happy to say that I'm happy to be a reinvention rebel. First of all, I'd like to thank each of you for coming in. I would like to thank those of you in the bushes. My mom asked me, what does it mean in the bushes? What that means is somebody who's on the channel watching and just not in the chat. It doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong. They're just busy. Deborah Garrett says, cute t shirt. Thank you. I received this as a guest speaker last year. No, yeah, last year in 2023. And in the city of New Haven, I was selected to be the first and only guest speaker for this group. And it was downtown at the town green. And I was one of the three featured speakers. I will have to link that with you to you guys one of these days. So, what was I going to tell you? Oh, I have so many things to tell you guys. So, I would like to thank the moderators. I would like to thank those of you in the bushes. I would like to thank the friends and family group members and each and every one of you. Oh, and I know you guys are busy, but the channel is monetized. I don't try to get a lot of money. I try to get some money for shipping. I will be shipping something out this week. Why? Because it's my birthday and my second anniversary of being on YouTube. So it's my birth anniversary, and I will be giving out one gift because of my birthday and one because it's my anniversary. Actually, on November 11th, today is November 9th, Nikki invited me to come up live. Nikki, the everyday life of an OCD-ish chick, invited me to come up live. Excuse me, you guys. I just used an allergy spray and the leaves are falling off the tree and the dust is blowing everywhere. So I was trying to get a step ahead. And then Maria Graham says, hit that like button, family. Thank you very much, Lee. Okay, so watch me try something else. Did that make me bigger or smaller or what? Just trying things. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave well enough alone. So, what happened was yesterday I went for a ride with one of my friends and we drove by my old house. One of my old houses, one of the ones that's about less than a half mile away from here. PIA Tracy, thanks for coming and welcome. Tracy, you are going to want to stay here or make sure you record this because I will be doing a flip and sew and stitch in the ditch in a minute, and I'll tell you about that. So we drove and we went by my old house, and I was also taking a card out, and here's the card. I'm pretty sure you cannot see it. Sold this house in 20, oh, I guess you can see it a little bit. In 2007, it was in New Haven, and it's actually 2 stories, a pull down attic. You see a window up there. It was finished, a full basement, both of those vans out there were mine because I used to have Cane Corso Italian Mastiffs, but I also had a garage back there, and my vehicle that I drove every day was in there. So it says property features large living room with fireplace. It was a formal dining room. Hardly ever used it. Walked through it and sat down. PIA said she's not going anywhere. Hello to anybody that I missed. It says, goodness, I need my dollar store glasses. These are the cute ones. They can only have a little bit of magnification at the bottom. The rest doesn't have any because I don't need any. Beautifully landscaped. 3-season porch. Okay, you can get down, Hershey. But I love that house. But I don't know why I had all that house. Hershey, you can get down, please. And then I tried to. Oh, that didn't work. Oh well, that went over like a poop in the pot in the wind. So anyway, we went shopping yesterday. A friend of mine. Did I buy anything? One thing accidentally came in my fell in my cart. We went to buy food. We went to the grocery store. Then we went to Walmart. But she drove a way that I've never driven and showed me a shortcut. And it wasn't really a shortcut. It was a round the way cut, but there was no traffic. So we went there and I showed her. She said, that was your house? I'm like, yeah, glad I don't have it. I did have a lot of landscaping. I paid somebody to come once a week to do the little bit of grass, but I had a lot of flowers. I had a lot of flowers, and except for some tomatoes, I didn't really have food there. I had a lot of hosta, a whole hedge of it. I had all kinds of azaleas and bulb plants, just all kinds of stuff. It was real pretty. It was a girly girl house. And then I got the Cane Corso Italian Mastiffs. And at one point, I ended up with 4 of them. And you couldn't have more than 4 in the city. Hey, Miss Shirley, OG. Thank you for coming and welcome. So I moved to the family property in North Carolina, and we built a new house from the ground up. And I stayed there until 2010. Then I moved back to Connecticut. And I stayed with my mom for a while for health reasons. Like I said, I can't take care of myself, couldn't then. And then I got my wonderful handicap apartment slash studio that I love so much with a few of my favorite things. So this just happened to pop up. The devil's always busy. I was looking for, oh, that's so funny. Every time I try to do something, the stupid phone does what it wants to do. Makes me sick. Makes me sick. So I won't show you that picture. Where'd it go anyway? Oh, there it is. If I turn it slowly, maybe you can see it because I see a glare. I'm trying to share. So that was a meal that I cooked, and I took it to one of my neighbors, and she took that photo. It was some meatloaf, and she made a salad. I made a really big meatloaf. Why? Because I had to clean out the freezer trying to get ready for Christmas. So let's get to the through the chit chat so that I can sew. Miss Shirley OG says, "Hello, mother, mommy. I called you earlier. You were busy, and I'll call you after I get off the live today." And I accidentally bought one thing other than food, and I picked up my prescriptions and I went to Walmart and the grocery store and the post office. So I was really tired. So only one thing, Marie Graham said it looked delicious. It was, but it was too big. I don't know why I cook so much food. So I did share it, but it had 1 pound of ground beef, 1 pound of ground turkey, and I mixed the meatloaf with the vegetables. And then I got sick of eating it. I won't say I don't like leftovers. I prep in advance, but I can't eat it more than 2 days and not back to back. Not back to back. Mother, Mike's Chaotic Gardening is saying hello, hello, hello. So, but before I show you the topic, I'll show you what accidentally fell in my cart. The only thing that accidentally fell in my cart was this fabric. I thought it was pretty with the butterflies on it. And it's only 1 yard. And I bought some gold thread because I will be making some bags with the black and the gold on it. And I actually needed some gold thread. Hey, Dolores, how you feeling, hon? Mr. Hershey, nobody wants you. I said Dolores. Oh, thank you. And thanks for showing my Cash App. If you would like to support the channel, I appreciate you. And like I said, the money that I receive on Cash App is only used to support the channel. To support the channel. So this is going to be a neck bone pillow for my beloved granddaughter. She's not going to see this. No worries, because today's her husband's birthday. Happy birthday, Chris. Happy birthday to ya. So they're out celebrating. I bring it every day. Kelly, thank you for coming. So I thought this was cute. This is not her color. She likes blue, but I like this. I'll put some blue handles on it. And she's the one that started the collection for all of those denim pieces. She started it so that I could make my mom that beautiful, beautiful king size denim quilt. So, what I would like to show you before we get to the topic at hand, and that is doing a stitch in the ditch, Tracy, and a flip and sew on a table runner. If you look back here, one of the ones I had up there is missing because we're going to finish it today. It'll be a quick thing and something that you guys can do. But first, I want to tell you, Hershey, please knock it off. I am in the $5 challenge that started November 1st. And I don't know how many $5, I don't know the rules, but I'm staying on a budget. I said I'll put $5 in cash in an envelope every week. So I started last Friday and I wrote it on this recycled, upcycled envelope because that's just me. The envelope fell on me when I was getting ready to get a business envelope. And I said, well, it's a Christmas envelope, but it's empty and I'm putting my $5 in it. Oh, you know what I wanted to tell you guys? Do you remember? Well, maybe you all don't. Do you remember back in the day when you used to give money or get money? I have worked as a cashier in stores, like as a teenager, like for Christmas and whatnot. And when you gave money out, when you hear my $5 for the 2 weeks, you counted your change out to the person you were giving it to, like 5, 10. You put all the money go in the same direction. You put the money in the cash register going in the same direction. Now you go in the store, people just reach it, give it to you, look you in the eye, don't say jack, don't say hello, don't say goodbye, don't say anything. Does anybody remember when money used to be like orderly, decent, and in order, like they say in the Bible? Yeah, have a great night, dinner. Oh, I guess somebody's going to dinner. I don't have the chat on. Oh, but my granddaughter is going to dinner, and there must have, I don't know what holiday was 9, 10 months before my birthday. Not only is it Chris's birthday, my birthday is Thursday. We'll be having my birth anniversary. Hey, Rudy with autism. Thanks for checking with us again. You made some business labels for me. Oh, thank you, Dolores. That's my birthday present from Dolores. So I know Sharita won't see the fabric. And yeah, that's going to be her Christmas present. So I'm looking around. Let me show you one of the gifts. The gift for my YouTube anniversary is this little mug rug. Yes, it's right side up. It says family, home, friends, love. Why? Because good friends become family, and family is everything. Thank you, Dolores. So this is the front. This is the back. It's just a stitch in a ditch, but there wasn't any ditch. I just did that. So, without further ado, we are going to talk about stitching in the ditch. What is stitching in the ditch? Cashiers were smart at giving change before computers. Exactly. Oh, and you know what? When people give change, they don't know how to count it out to you. And some people, like, I used to have a business, my husband and I, a store, and it was like a little gas station arcade. I said, what did I say last week? Sometimes my words get mixed up. Don't get all y'all, my words get mixed up, but we didn't have slot machines. We had other machines, video games and whatnot. So when I would tell the cashiers if they got mixed up, just get, or like somebody would give you a 20, a 10, and then give you a 20 and one change or something, I would tell them, if that happens, just close the register, give them their money back, all their money, and start all over again. Because sometimes people do that, try to switch up money and get you confused. So, my allergy, sorry for the sniffling. 755 Media. I took a nap before I came in here, and I was watching you paint that scarecrow and that little guy, the little straw guy. I was watching. Oh, and 755 Media, you texted me, but you never did call me. I have something I have to tell you, but you have to call me on the ringy dingy on the phone. So let's talk about stitching in the ditch because I want to show you something that is stitched in the ditch. And I didn't iron it. I kind of showed it to you last week because I want to show you something, and I didn't want the ironing to smooth it out. Can you see this? This is a table runner. It's folded because I wanted you to be able to see it. Okay. I'm putting it really super close, super, super, super. You can see a few stitches here and there, but if Stitch in the Ditch is done correctly, you can't see the stitches in the ditch. All of these rows, all of these, and going and hash cross, they're all stitched in the ditch. And I'm going to show you how you do it without seeing it. And this is, it's double-sided, so when you look here, you can see the stitch marks. Actually, the stitch marks are which are the 755 says she gonna call me on the ringy dingy thingy. All right, all right, all right, niece daughter. So when you look on here, you can see the stitches, but that's intentional. You are supposed to see the stitches in quilting because those stitches are supposed to be highlights. Or if you don't want to see it, you can put matching thread, but then you defeat the whole point. All that hand stitching or machine stitching, because I didn't have to put any of these stitches in. You never would have known it. You never would have known it was there. So we're going to go over and I'm going to show you how I did, not this one of the sister one to this. This one is Scrappy. This was just some scraps, different colored strips that I had, and I sewed them together in a little way that I have of sewing things together. Then I mixed them and matched them. PIS said, one ringy ding. Oh, do you remember that? Oh, what was that? Laughing something? When she used to stick her hand in her bra, she'd say, one ringy dingy, two ringy dingies. That used to be funny. I forgot the name of that show. But I forget to take my applesauce sometimes. All right, y'all. Let's get over here and see if there's anything else over here important for me to tell you. So I will take my phone over there in case I can pull up the chat. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Okay, so let me see. Yes, this is one of those iCrack phones. It does what it wants to. Sometimes it's listening to you. I was talking to my friend before we went riding the other day, and it was just going and going. Except that Siri or whoever you are, I don't even use you. I don't even know you why you're in my life recording my conversation. About to get popped over there. So let's go to, I think, pull up the chat on here. If you talk to yourself, it makes it go better. You took a senior nap after 755. Just kidding, show today too. Yeah, naps are good. Naps are good. Long live naps. Okay, so let me stop being silly and go to over here. Inch by inch. Yeah, I could do all that other fancy stuff, but why bother? Why bother? So I still have the foursies on my great granddaughter's quilt, fringing one of the others. I'm just going to show you this little gold thread I got that fell in my cart yesterday. Because when I do those fancy gold and black bags, I like to have this gold top stitching. So I bought this gold thread for trim. And when I sew on black, sewing black on black is almost impossible, especially when you are at night or there's a background. So let me show you what this is. I will turn the light on. And when you're doing quilting, quilting meaning the putting together of PIA is saying, "Hi Maria, how are you doing?" Well, let me just take a minute and prayers for everyone who's not feeling well. And blessings, prayers and blessings. Okay. So now I'm going to the bottom of the chat. Her in a giant rocking chair acting like a kid. Oh, you know what? Those neck bone pillows, they say, are the thing. If you have one of those recliners or even a rocking chair, it doesn't have lumbar support in the back. So it's best to have one of those that you can put in your back. Let's turn this down. And because when you do a flip and sew, it's counterintuitive. It's not like you think it works. So I'm going to show you. Your sister tried to take your lap blankie. She almost got her feelings hurt, Maria Graham. I know. Nothing like a nap and nothing like having your own little quilt. Auntie Joanne and Uncle Roscoe. Auntie Joanne's funny. You don't sleep on her pillow or her little nap blankets, whichever ones they are. So let's talk about flip and sew and quilting. Now, quilting is the process of putting the three pieces together. The top, this is the piece top, you guys. All right. So, all right, so pay attention, take notes if you want to learn how to do this. Okay, because I don't know if it's going to be recorded. So this is my quilted piece on the top, and underneath that underneath that is the backing. Notice that the backing and the piece that I'm going to be stitching in the ditch is right here on top of it. Okay? The batting, are you listening, you guys? The batting, when you're doing this method, goes on the bottom. It goes on the bottom. Don't be trying to stick it in between. Don't be trying to stick the peanut butter between the two slices of bread because it's not going to work. Okay? So you put as unbiased would say, you put the pretty sides together, then you put the backing, or if you choose, you can put the top on the batting. This is cotton batting, and I put it on top. I usually cut my batting and my backing a little bit bigger than the top. Why? Because sewing on it will sometimes make it shrink up. So here's the top, here's the backing, and here is the batting. Now, normally when I'm quilting, I use pins. Depending on how big the unit is, because like I just stuck myself in the stomach how big these pins are. I actually like 1 inch pins, but for hand sewing and other things, I use the smaller ones. You can use up to 2 inches, no bigger, no bigger. Black Guns and Gardens, thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. I saw you the other day talking about the benefits of a revolver type pew pew. That's what I learned on. And I was pretty proficient at quick loading and partial and knowing which way the barrel was flipping to the left or to the right on which kind of pew pew. Yeah, I used to know all that stuff. Your good old auntie, not to be messed with. I remember like Ma Barker and them. So what I'm going to do now that this piece that's going to be given away, this little table runner on Thursday. What Mike say, sticking myself in the stomach with the pen. Maybe some of the air or fluffiness will come out. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is, like some of you that watch the sewing videos or they pop up, they put you where they're going to sew. So I'm going to start over here because it's flat. I'm going to go around the edges and I'm going to leave an opening on one side so that I can turn it inside out. That's why they call it a flip and sew. Oh yes, yes, Black Guns and Garden. All the other times I keep one in the hole. Oh yes, I. Oh yes, we do. Oh yes, we do. Yep, yep, yep. So, just making sure that you guys can see my hands. Like you go to the casino and they step away. So I'm going to leave an opening to turn this. And I'm going to do, normally in quilting, you do a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to put about a 1/3 of an inch seam. And I'm going to keep a little stylus here. This isn't my real stylus. This is just a seam ripper because I want to keep the seams flat. You notice that all my seams are pressed flat. You have to, when you're doing tailoring on clothes or quilting, you have to press. Okay? You don't like to press, or there are other ways of pressing. You can finger press, whatever. So I'm just going to get this close. And I'm making my seams are all flat. I won't be able to see the chat for a minute because I'm concentrating on sewing around these edges and catching all 3 pieces, because that's the only problem, that you have to catch all 3 pieces. Now when you get to the corner, you leave your needle down and swing your piece around. And it's okay if you don't use, oh, baloney. So I forgot I was doing something else on here that had a zigzag stitch run in my mouth and I didn't pay attention. And I don't know if you can see it here, but you see what happened? I sewed a zigzag stitch. So, hey, Frugal Mama, thanks for coming. So, what happens when you do that? You go back and put your correct stitch on. I usually tell you what stitch I'm using, blah, 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 blah. So, I'm using a straight stitch because this is several thicknesses and seams. I'm putting the stitch length on 3, the stitch width on 0, and no harm, no foul. I will go back to where I started, and I'm actually going to put, stop Hershey. Come. He's at the door, grumbling, growling, because somebody just came in the apartment next door to me. So I'm just making sure that I caught the batting under the bottom. All right, all right, all right. So life happens. Sometimes if there's something wrong, you have to actually, I'm just cutting this little seam, making it so that it's level. You might have to use that same seam ripper that I had out. You might have to use that as a seam ripper and pick it out, but no foul. So I will go back to where I started sewing this, which was here. And I'm just going to sew over it. As a matter of fact, no, because I want this runner to be as big as possible. I was thinking about putting the needle on the left to make the seam bigger, but I won't do that. And I am going to actually take a couple of these stitches out. Hold on, you guys, because I want to make sure that this batting comes to the edge. It won't matter because when I flip it and go on the back, see where it came close to the edge over there? It was not a 1/4 inch seam. When I flip it to the back, I'm going to sew it down anyway. Hey, Famous! Rooted in essential oils, how are you doing? I thought about you today when I was putting some kind of essential oil on and spraying some peppermint essential oil in my garden. So I'm just going back and making sure that I have these edges caught all the way down. All right, all right, all right. So let's do it again. And I'm going to make a little wider seam actually this time. All right, back stitch. And let's go. This will be a nice little table runner for Thanksgiving, you guys. Just I will post it, but I just want you to know Thanksgiving is on a Thursday, so I won't be going live that Thursday, but I will be going live the usual Saturday because I'll be at Mom's house for Thanksgiving. Also going there next Sunday, we're going to celebrate my birthday there. And my daughter will be there. And the kids and Mom. So I'm sewing a scant, not a scant, a 1/3 of an inch seam to hold it down. I took that pin out and I'm kind of holding it down with my hand because all these little, you see all these little seams? I don't have to, but it just makes it lie flatter. And I can feel underneath that I have all 3 pieces. Oh, that looks strange. But she'll be fine. Needle down and turn it. And, oh, I see why it looks funny. Because this fabric, I just rough cut it with the scissors when I sat down. Ruby Spot, I seen you cooking your little hips off. I seen you, the chicken drumsticks and all the prayers every day because your birthday is also in November. I'll be watching on my TV. I'll be watching and napping and watching. Okay, so now I'm going down the long side over here. So this is what has to be straight, not how I cut the background fabric, because I'm actually going to trim that off. Just before I went live with you guys, I cut this fabric on my beautiful design cart floor here because it was a much bigger piece. I backstitched then just now because the presser foot went over the edge of that big old V seam. So I might have cut off a little bit of it. Are there any questions? Rubies. But I always give you guys the thumbs up. 755, you got the thumbs up. I didn't get back to leave a message. I will, even if it's nothing but my 3 purple heart signature. One can only do the best one can only do. And as my mother says, sometimes your best isn't good enough. And isn't that the blessed truth? But all you can do is try your best. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. Now here's a bunch of tiny little seams over in this corner. But I got you. I got you. Okay. Needle down, pull this pin out, turn. So this is the 3rd seam. This looks like these edges were not quite. When you're trimming things, if your seams don't come together just perfectly when you're joining them, you just take your scissors and I cut off the little part that's sticking up. You don't have to. It's your thing. You can do whatever you want to do. Okay. So we're coming around the mountain when we come. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Left, right, left. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. Okay, we're almost here. I'm going to peek and see how big of an opening I'm going to do. Yes, Black Guns and Garden. When my sister and Uncle Roscoe and I walk in Arizona, I'm the one calling cadence. GT Jr. grows in Alaska. Hello. Hello. And anybody else I didn't see, she's blessing me from the bushes. So let's make this table runner from the bushes. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so I'm cutting this string and I'm trying to see how big of an opening I'm going to leave to flip this little thing. So for those of you who just came in, this is called a flip and sew type of quilting. And then I'm going to reinforce it by stitching in the ditch. Only a couple ditches though, because it's not even necessary, because it's a table runner. I'm going to show you this, you guys, in 1 second. Take these extra pins out. So, looking at the batting from the back, from where this finger is to this finger, I left an opening. So now what I'm going to do is, see this extra fabric? This side was flat because that was the edge I started on. So I'm going to take the extra pins out. That's one thing you want to be super, super, super careful of when you're quilting. You can see the back of it. You want to make sure that you never, ever, 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 never leave a pin, a straight pin inside, because once you sew it down, the last thing you want is a pin to scratch someone or puncture a hole in them, that would be the worst, especially if it's an infant or a child. So now I'm just taking my big old long, super sharp shears, and I'm just trimming the extra batting, the extra backing off so that it's even when I turn it, just to reduce some of the bulkiness. See this extra? That's what I'm cutting off. All right. So this was made just with scraps, you guys, out of my scrap pile. A few weeks ago, I sewed the top together with scraps. So this is a very scrappy table runner, and that's what you can do with your old scraps. I was looking if I had any sitting down beside my sewing table here, but I usually keep them in boxes, in boxes, in boxes, and they're so much fun. I'm doing another scrappy project where I'm doing 2 blocks a week while I'm saving my $5 a week for the $5 challenge. And this, you think I'm throwing this away? Oh, heck to the no. This these little bits of batting will be used for when I make my key fobs. I have a whole pile of them over here. Or my lanyards. This type you use for your scrappy quilts. All right, so now I'm going around the fourth side. Oh, and look what happened. Here's a pin. But not to worry your pretty little heads about, your handsome little faces, because there's a process that I go to fix that. And I will show you we didn't get it. It's a little quality control thing that I do. So now that I've trimmed them all, I'm looking on the back. I'm looking on the back, and you guys are looking with me too, and you don't see any pins. But now I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle off on each corner to turn it under. Oh, and for those of you who buy bulk fabric, before you wash them, to keep it from raveling, I don't know whether it was Barb Brownlee or somebody asked me about a 45-degree angle. So this is a 90-degree angle. Every corner is 90 degree. Well, not every, but on these it's 90 degree. So I'm just cutting this little triangle off. If you're doing it on something you're washing, it won't ravel. So if you buy bulk fabric, new fabric, I never wash it, or very seldom, unless it's red or some type of black that might look like it might fade. But if you buy used fabric, always wash it. You don't know what was on it. Some people have cats, people are allergic to cats. Some people have other animals. Some people just have nasty houses. What you figure. So this is all done. So what do? You reach inside the 2 layers, and I'm going to turn this inside out. Da-da-da-da-da. That's where the flip and sew comes from. The corners are trimmed so they're going to be nice and flat, but that's okay because I always have my handy dandy chopstick, and I'm going to stick those down in the corner at some point. I always, and you don't want to push too hard when you're pushing your corners, else you'll stick it all the way through, especially if you use something sharp like this. You don't want to do that. Our treasured home, Nancy. I've been watching you too. I saw the whole thing with you putting your stuff in storage and going through the whole thing. I saw you, girlfriend. I saw you. I love you guys. So now the doctor is sticking her hand inside the body here, pushing the appendix and liver, putting them back in place, massaging the heart. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, you guys being silly. Yankee sister, hola hermana. You on the phone? Yankee sister, I got a big old care package over here for you. You got to send for it. You got to send for it. You know where it'll be for pickup. So, what I'm doing is turning this table runner inside out, poking the corners out. The doctor's taking her hand out of the patient's body. Now she's sticking more tools in there. Oh, doctor, don't leave any of the tools in the patient. And I like to take the chopstick or whatever, instead of pressing it. This is so small. I'm not getting up and go over there and do that. So I'm pushing. You see this corner? I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And then I'm going along the sides, making sure they're smooth. Oh, I'm so excited because this is almost done. So I push the edges out with the chopstick, except this one. I'm going to push it out some more with the edge of this because you can use different tools. You can use a piece of wooden, like a paint stick, a paint stirrer stick. You can use that. So now I'm using my hand and smoothing it down, making sure the edges are flat. And this is where I sewed it together. So just for giggles and kicks, I'm going to put pins there because I'm going to make sure that I go back and either hand sew it or sew it close to the edge with the sewing machine. So I'm tucking that under. You guys, this is a laparoscopic. No, this is not laparoscopic. This is a whole gut open, full open cavity, open heart surgery over her. So, Teresa Bailey, welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to go back so that when you find this is going to be called Stitching in the Ditch and Flipping and Sewing. So I want you to see what we have so far. On the other hand, if one wanted to, you could take out one of your wooden irons like this and go around the edges and mush them flat and mush them and mush them. Mother, you hear me saying about mushing? Mother, I'm acting up again, mother. This doesn't have to be done. I'm just showing you guys different techniques and procedures. But by changing them, it's like changing your recipe when you're cooking. You never gets bored of eating the same thing. Why? Because it's so much fun. So now what I want to show you, that's the part of flipping and sewing. So I'm just going to randomly pick some of these blocks to sew around because you see the back of this? The back of this, it was ironed once, but it was folded and under the chair and everything. So see the back of this? I will iron it before it's mailed out, before you win it. So I'm just going to start on one corner, go up this way, go around this way. You can put as many seams as you want in it. So this is the quilting part that's going to hold it together. Now, why am I doing this? Before I do the outer edges, to make sure there's no wrinkles when I get to the edges. That's why. So when you're quilting, you're holding it together, you always start like in the inner parts Then you go to the outer edges and put your binding on or whatever else you're doing. But you do the inside in. And I don't say always, you don't have to. Like I said, you can do it your way. But when you do things decent and in order, your things come out decent and in order. So I'm just going to start over here in this corner because this is going to be a giveaway, and I'm going to sew just inside because I'm using light thread. So I'm going to sew just inside where the white is. And how do I know? Because I'm looking at the needle. And there's also this foot that I'm using in here has a little split. And where the split is, I can see exactly where the needle is going to land, where the eagle is going to land. Now, could I put some pins in here? Yeah, but I already mushed it down. So this is not quite stitching in the ditch. I'm stitching near the ditch. But what I wanted to tell you, if you really don't want your stitches to show, what you do is when you're sewing, yeah, it reminded me to thank each and every one of you for coming. Why? Because good friends become family, and family is everything. And some lucky family member will be winning this on Thursday, and I will try to get it in the mail so that you will have it for your table for Thanksgiving. Most people celebrate Thanksgiving. Whatever holiday, just whenever you want to. You see me try to sew without the presser foot down? Busted. So now I'm using my hands to hold my place. Why? Because I didn't put a lot of pins in here. So now I'm just going to go across here. Whoop, this little lump. You hear her gagging on what she's choking on her food over here. So I'm going to go across to this diamond. So this is an easy flip and sew table runner. And I'm stitching in some ditches, going across here, leaving the needle down. What I'm doing is sewing around the perimeters of this diamond that's formed by all these pieces of fabric. Okay, let me smooth her down a little. Okay, so now I'm coming up the other side. I will look up in just a minute. Any questions, you guys? This is going to be a cute little table runner. And guess what? It's made out of scraps, you guys. I literally got this out of I had some long strips that I sewed together during one of the lives one day. And I had them on my design wall in the back. Being careful over here because I've got some pins. Should have put some clips in there. But you can do pins if you're going to be careful. See these pins? I'm being careful how I grab it. So, ooh, wouldn't be alive if I didn't drop something. That was just the box. I'm just, this is so invisible, the sewing. I have to look carefully to see where I've sewn and where I didn't. Okay, so that one's not sewn. I'm going to duck over here. I heard you. There's a thick bunch of little seams in there. Let me see what's going on. I think it's just a very thick seam, but me, I'm going to cut it and look and see why it was doing it. I don't see anything wrong, so we'll keep going. Or maybe the bobbin thread came loose. But I heard something funny. It's like your children are on the playground. I use that analogy a lot. And I'm going to pull the bobbin thread back up. And you hear one of them scream or something. It might be okay. It might be a happy scream. It seemed like all the kids on the playground, including the boys. I never heard boys screaming growing up. It just wasn't thing to do in my dad's house. One of his sons screaming on the playground with the girls. Nah, Daddy would not have had that. Daddy would not have had that. Or that's looking way cool. Looking way cool. Okay, so now I'm actually going to, because I already have a cut on one finger where I stuck it on the glass. I'm going to take this pin out actually and put a clip so that I'll pay attention to it when I start grabbing it and turning it around. So let me see where I left off. It was over here in the center. And I'll show you the exact parts where it was quilted. And we will be doing a giveaway live and in living color on Thursday, November 14th. That was just a really big, thick seam in there. I could hear it. All right. I was sewing over about 6 seams. Okay. All right. I'll look at the chat in 1 minute, you guys, and see if there's any questions. So this is where I started on here. So that's it as far as the actual quilting, meaning holding all these pieces down. Maybe I'll go back and put one going this way. Actually, I will. Why? Because it's my thing. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I just like to make things that are well done. Any questions, you guys? So whoever gets this will get something. So I'm sewing down the middle of the diamond. And this is the part where you use your hands and pull it apart. So you get down in that little crease that's in there. Here's a stringy that when I stopped before. Now we're going by a really thick part, so I'm just going to go slowly over it, which I did. So, how many of you think this is cute and would like to win it? Put a 1 in the chat if you think this is cute, something you would put on your table. Or you know what? For those of you who like to can, this would be an excellent thing to put when you take your hot stuffs out of the pressure cooker or out of your big canning pot. This would be a good thing to rest your jars on. Okay, now. So now what I'm going to do is just go around and edge stitch this. I'm just going to put a thin little seam to hold it down. Why? Because, you know the opening that I left? Instead of having to hand sew that, If I sew it really close where I put those little clips, it'll catch the edges. I'm just pulling this out to make sure I get the edges all the way. It's just the little things you do to make your work nice. Or don't do it. It's whatever you want. However you want your work to look, that's it. No judgment. No judgment. So now, this is the final closing. The final closing. So I'm making sure I've got this turned in. This opening part, making sure it's turned, folded in, that the batting is folded in, folded flat, both sides, so that I can stitch it closed nicely. Oh, and 755 Media, I don't know if you're still in the bushes, you and Sissy, but I know y'all got that sewing machine over there. I've seen both of you at the sewing machine. Told you I've been watching. Time to get that bad boy out and get some scraps together. And make something. Okay. Oh, this looks really nice, you guys. Can't wait to show it to you. When you sew the way that you can sew and it looks nice, you actually have to look to see where the stitches are because they're invisible. But you'll be able to see the edges when I take her out in just a second. Oh, I see a couple ones. So those are the only couple people that would, oh, only like 5 people would like to have a table, this for a table runner or for canning on it, putting your jelly. PIA, I can see you now putting some of your canning, some of your cowboy candy on here, girlfriend. And when I go that close to that edge. And guess what, guys? We're done. I used to jog in the morning at Auntie Joanne's house like years ago with Uncle Roscoe, and we would go down different streets. I don't even know all the streets he would take me down. And that was when they lived in Linwood. And then we get to Long Beach Boulevard, an open stretch. And you know how the runners, the guys wear those little shorts that are nylon and they go whoop, 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 whoop. Uncle Roscoe would say, okay, I'll tell you 1 second, Sissy. Uncle Roscoe would say, Sissy, we in for the home stretch. Brother would put that thing in fourth gear and vroom. I wouldn't see him until we got to the house. All I would see was those little shorts flipping down the street. Sissy, these were, I want to say, I'm going to have to measure them because these were not standard blocks. These were 10-inch blocks that I did a funny thing and I sewed around the entire outside. Then I cut them on the diagonal and flipped them open and re-sewed them. But, so, it says 6¼ inches. So I can safely say that 1/4 inch on 4 sides, that they were like, I want to say 7.5 inch blocks. So this is, let me turn around. Why don't I turn the whole thing so I don't knock the computer off? So, dun, 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 dun. How cute is that, you guys? And here's the back. Okay, and all I have to do is put my little label on. So, you guys, how cool was that? You still have lots of time. Famous, I can see you now making some of these to put all your oils on. And your, what do you call it? Your, not your dehumidifier, not your thing when you put your, the scents in there. I have a couple of those. Just can't think of the name right now because I had so many things to tell you guys. Almost homesteading with Janet. So, these little strips, you have so many. You know what you have coming, Janet? No, I didn't get to the get to that post office yet, but I will probably Monday. So I want you to see up close. Do you see where all these different little fabrics are in there? The dark ones. This was where I put a bunch of dark colored fabrics together, then light colored fabrics, and then I just sewed them together. I just made up some stuff, just like I do when I'm cooking. Just like I do when I'm cooking. I made some chili today. Oh my goodness. I've got some for 3 different neighbors and friends. I made chili and I made it a little different. Instead of tacos, I made like, I want to say, taco seasoning chili. I soaked the pinto beans and I made the whole pack. I made the whole pack. I put ground turkey in there. I put fresh bell pepper, fresh onion, fresh cut up tomatoes, the end of the ones from the garden, a little bit of cumino. My granddaughter doesn't like cumin. Some salt, pepper, garlic, and a little, a little what parsley for a garnish. Oh yeah, diffuser. That's what it was. That's what it was. Don't get old, famous. The diffuser. I have one of those cute little diffusers with the lights that change and all that stuff. So you guys come on in on Thursday, 4 p.m. It'll probably, oh, and cornbread. I didn't make any cornbread because I didn't want to eat any. I had some ginger snap cookies that I was snacking on. So, one can't overdo it with the candle on both ends, can one? Mother, do you see what the good daughter did? And if you want, you can use this side. If you don't want to get like your grape jelly on the other side, bar brownie. So, do any of you have any questions? Mike, you need chili? You would like that. Now, if I were making chili for myself, I would have dropped a couple scotch bonnets in it, a couple of those spicy peppers. But these are for, the more timid at heart. Me, you can burn my mouth off and I'm happy. Are there any questions, anybody, about stitching in the ditch or just anything? Again, this is just made out of scraps. Da-da-da-da-da. Thank you guys for coming. And do what you love and love what you do. This was fun, even my chatting and everything. You see how this was? One of my other lives, I took and threw some scraps together. Again, this one I put all the light colors together on one side, the darker colors. I have another one up there where I mixed and matched them. Do whatever you want to do. Can you use that inside out method with a full quilt? Absolutely, PIA. That's why I wanted you to see it. That's why I wanted you to see it. In fact, back in the day, that's how what most of our grandmothers did. Or they took the edge of the fabric and just rolled it under. They didn't do all that. Barb Rowley says, I'm so hilarious but talented. Yeah, I was always getting in trouble, Barb Rowley, growing up. My mouth, my mouth. PAA, did you have another question other than the inside out? I can wait. Psalm 146. Looking in here to see if there's any sunflower fabric in there. What was I doing the other day? Every time I see something with a sunflower, I think about you guys. I want you to go. Nothing goes to waste around here with this reinvention rebel. This is the celery I put in my chili today. I didn't throw the end out. I cut it big. It's going right in the garden. Okay. I did a good job. Thank you guys. So whoever wants to win it, and I didn't put it out like all over. Oh, Auntie Joanne, you heard me say Auntie Joanne. Auntie Joanne, he's ready for his walk. He's ready for his walk. Okay, PIA. Well, you guys can always email me, ellenpanky@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. So this is going to be pressed, and it'll look much better. It'll look pretty. It's just poofy now, but when I iron it, it's going to look nice. Yo, mi amor. Adios. So now it's time to say goodbye to all our lovely friends. This is an I in American Sign Language. Excuse me, Hershey. No. This is an L. This is a U. Ego amote. I love you guys. I love you, Mother. See you Thursday, 4 p.m. to win this and something else. Sorry about Hershey barking, but he's barking because somebody's out in the hall.